Well, howdy ho, good neighbor. It is apparent that I made it to the Pacific Northwest. That's right, Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier? How dare I? That's Mount St. Helens. You knew that. You knew that all the way before I even got here. But there you go. Let me pick you up and I'm going to show you how beautiful it is up here. But the part that I had a problem was finding this place because it is so remote. But as I gradually point you up into the air and then grab you back down here, let's go look at this beauty. There she is, the beautiful Mount St. Helens, the volcanic eruption. There's a storyboard over here that I'm going to show you. But I am surprised that a lot of these trees aren't blown down. I think that happened on the other side of this mountain. But it says the landscape has transformed. So this used to, let's back that out a little bit. Yeah, where I'm standing used to look a lot different. So that's what people were saying on the internet, that this has definitely changed. The trees, what these trees you're seeing today are new trees. These trees are, believe it or not, are not that old. But you can see that thing just bolted out the side of the mountain. So if you were standing here in the May of 1980, around 6:30 in the morning, this thing would have blown right at you. And I'm going to do a little zoom in, and you're going to see just how big that mountain is. The camera does not do it justice. There's actually a cloud that's looming over the top of it. So that thing has its own little atmosphere up there. But boy, is it such a beautiful day, we can see it. So here's what happened. On that day, this volcano, normal volcanoes blow up and then come back down on themselves. This day, that volcano blew this way towards the north, and it really just absolutely devastated this landscape. All these trees were blown down. And you see what I'm standing on right here? This could be that ash. So I don't know. But these trees are gone. So they've cleaned up a lot of this. But that side of that mountain is what blew off. Wow. They say there's still a crater up there, still active. So I don't know. So we did come all the way up here to see the Mount St. Helens eruption aftermath. And you can see, here's a good example of some of these trees that have just been devastated by termites and other. So there you go. We got it right here. You can almost see the lava flows coming down the mountain right there. So it is like one of those things. I got some more visitors coming out. I'm gonna put the camera behind me. You could probably see there's some visitors coming. So Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980 in May, and this whole community was transformed into something you'll never see again. In my lifetime, an eruption blew up. That is just, and I was only 11 years old at the time, and I don't remember it being that big of a deal until I got older. Just like everything, history becomes more fascinating to me when we get older. So here you go. Look at all the beautiful landscape that has actually come back. For a while, there was nothing here. This was all barren land, ash and soot. So wow. That's all I could say. This place is kind of like the Grand Canyon. You travel all this way to see it. And there's not much to do when you get here, but look at it and gaze at it and make a little video. But these trees, what you're seeing on the ground, are not from that volcano. There was actually nothing left. They replanted all these trees. So you could see that's probably volcanic rock. Believe it or not, I am standing on volcanic rock right now that blew out of that mountain. So I don't see any big boulders like I was expecting to see, but I don't know. There is a path, so maybe I'll lock up this trail and we'll go for a little walk here. But like I said, it's like the Grand Canyon. There's not a lot to see when you get here. But that beautiful mountain, I would still come here. But you know, I was under the impression that I was going to go to an observation deck. So I don't think I'm at the right part of St. Helens Visitor Center. I don't know. I definitely got to see it though. But it's not the part of the mountain that I thought I was going to. Oh, look at that shade has gone off the top of the mountain, so I can do a zoom in there. You can see the glare right off the top of that. You see that? Looks like 3 mirrors up there. Mirrors? Yeah, that's the sun peeking through the beautiful clouds. All right, let's lock up the truck and take a little walk. How about a screenshot? Well, howdy ho, good neighbor. That's right, we made it to the south. That's right, the south side of Mount St. Helens. I just figured that out, that this is not the blast side. That's right, that's going to be for another adventure. This side is the side, like the dark side of the moon. This is actually, you can barely see the top of the volcano. So on the other side is where the mountain blew apart. So what we're seeing here is a mountain without a top. So on our next adventure, we're going to go see the other side of that. But look at this. This is called the Muddy River. And if you look real close, you could still see the volcanic rock and ash. And it is dry as a bone. So they call it a muddy river, but I don't think there's much water flows through this. And if there is any water that flows through it, well, that ground sucks it up way up there before it even gets to this bridge I'm standing on. But there you go. The south side of Mount St. Helens. So what I learned today was there's more than one side of Mount St. Helens. That's right. So if you come to Mount St. Helens, say north side of Mount St. Helens. Just don't say any side of Mount St. Helens or you're going to end up where I'm at, on the wrong side. Whatever. But anyway, it's sight to see. I'm glad I got to see this side first. And I might be here for a day or two. You never know if I go see the other side of it. It's not that far away, but yeah. This is the full mountainside. So you got to see the full side, and it did not disappoint. So someday we'll make it to the visitor center and we'll do the whole shemangle and the whole deal. But here the Muddy River is dry as a bone. But that does look like lava rock to me down there. I don't know. I don't know what lava rock looks like, but that looks like it to me. All right, well, we did it. We came all the way up to the Pacific Northwest, to Mount St. Helens. To the wrong side of Mount St. Helens, by the way, but we still made our adventure happen anyway. Wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard. Well, as always, I want to thank you again for coming along with me on these Mount St. Helen wrong side adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody. Yep, not much water coming down today. Wrong side, right day. Postscript. If you look really hard and don't look into the sun, you are going to see a sunbow. See my hat over that sun? You can see the bow going all the way around the sun. And if you look real close, well, it disappeared now, but there was another bow right over there. Sunbow with a bow tie. All right, you know the drill. Peace, love, and all that. Volcano jazz. Bye-bye, everybody. Script. Well, it is apparent to go to see the south side of Mount St. Helens, you are going to have to beware of abrupt edge. That's right, the edges just fall off the cliff abruptly. So if you come to Mount St. Helens, beware of the abrupt edge. Live it, learn it, love it, live it. The world famous ape cave. It is apparent that I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and there it is, the world famous ape cave. Screenshot. Okay, the rumor is that the Boy Scouts found this cave, and they call it Ape Cave because they do believe this is where Sasquatch lived, or what do you call that? Bigfoot. So there is the Ape Cave. I don't have any flashlights, so I'm not prepared to go in there. But I can go down these steps a little bit, I do imagine. Let's do your widescreen. Wow. I'm in the ape cave with no flashlight. So just imagine if you're with your Boy Scout troop and you come across this and it goes down further, but I don't have any flashlights like I said. So this is all from lava rock. And there's the bottom of Ape Cave. Wow. Well, you're supposed to have a permit to come in here. And it looks like people do. Oh, there's somebody coming out of Ape Cave. See, they have the flashlight. Yeah, they're coming out of the dark. They made it. So no flashlights. All right. Well, we made it to Ape Cave. All right. With no flashlights, that's about as much as I'm going to see. But it is amazing. Let me get by this tourist. This is another tourist coming down. I'll get out of her way.
Yeah, I'm only going to go to the entrance here.
There you go. So we weren't prepared for a mile hike to the Ape Cave. Look at the following are prohibited in the Ape Cave. That means you cannot bring the fireworks in there and the pets. You can't be smoking and eating food and beverages, and definitely don't be shooting your shooting your guns and your gums. And no fires in the Ape Cave. There it is. So this was a little happy mistake. I went to go see Mount St. Helens north side, and I ended up on Mount St. Helens south side at the Ape Cave. So happy mistakes, as they say. There's some people coming out of the Ape Cave. But for privacy reasons, we'll leave them. Yep, there you go. Ape Cave lumber. It looks like the fence were just recently done, or redone, as they say. Okay, maybe I'll take one more walk down into the Ape Cave as far as I can see. Let's see if I can turn on the flashlight. I'm not gonna go by these people. Let's see if I can do the cut and turn on flashlight. Okay, it is apparent now I have the light on. So I'm gonna go down into that cave as far as I can go and see what we can see, okay? So let's go down. I got the light on now. Looks like there's a walking stick, double pointed. All right. Now I have the light on and I'm descending into the ape cave. But I'm just gonna go as far as that gate down there to make it official. Now, like if you come to the ape cave, make sure you have a permit because they want a permit in the park. So, oh, I can already feel how cold it gets in the ape cave. As soon as you get down here, you better have a jacket on and some water because you are coming into, look at this, a gated area. I don't know if the camera will pick it up because it is so dark, but it is wet and it's cold and it smells like ape, and that's where they hammer the ape cave in. Let me clean this lens a little. Hopefully that lens is a little cleaner. Yeah, not too light down here. I can't really show you a lot of the ape cave because I don't have a flashlight. But there it is. And if you listen real close, you can hear it dripping. Yeah, nothing but darkness, but that goes back quite a ways. So, and that is what they call the bottom of ape cave. What's that? That could be like guano or bat droppings. I don't know, but it is cold in here. So that gate looks like it does hold an ape in. Now, you got to be a big ape to get out of this cave. Let's just look at the thickness of that. Yeah, if you're an ape, you're not getting out of this cave. But the problem is, guys, the door has been opened and the ape is out. The ape is out, so just beware. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, you already know that Sasquatch lives around here, and this would be a great place for him to live. Wouldn't you know it? You would know it. Look at this. No one would see you here. It's miles off the main road, and there's good eatings. I've seen deer around here. You know you can live off of deer, and all kinds of water, and plenty of birds to eat. So this ape is not going hungry here at Ape Cave. All right, well, this was a happy mistake. We made our way to the south side of Mount St. Helens and ended up at the Great Ape Cave of the Pacific Northwest. And boy, what a sight. What a sight. It doesn't get any better than this. Whew, I'm out of breath. Where did my breath go? I'm out of it. Maybe it's the altitude, I don't know. Well, as always, I want to thank you again for coming along with me. Look at all these flowers in bloom on these Ape Cave adventures. Yeah. You better have a good breather if you're coming up here because it is thin air. All right, you know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody. Yeah, fresh cut trees. That is proof that apes have been here at the Ape Cave. Postscript. All right, before we end the Ape Cave, I'm going to give you a couple facts and figures about the Ape Caves. The fact of the Ape Cave is 12,810 feet deep. And to explore the cave, well, these caves, Trail 239, and there it is right there. You can see, you drop in where we were just at, and you walk down into that Ape Cave, and it goes all the way down.
That's its length, not the depth.
Oh, the length. All right, in the dark you are at the Ape Cave, so look out for the bats and the crickets and the snakes and the mice. All right, and the moss and the bat poop. Remember to wipe your boots when you leave. That's right, before you leave, you give your boots a good little wipe. So you don't want to bring any of that bat droppings home with you. All right, well, there's your final look at the Ape Cave. Postscript over.